Just check if I am on live on YouTube. Let's check if you can hear me as well. Okay, we live, we live, we live, we live. Righty. Okay. So I'm excited to do another live with you guys. And I see there's one person there already. Hi, it is done. Yes, indeed. Okay, I just need to mute myself. Okay, perfect. Yeah. Okay, awesome stuff. Yeah. So in today's live, I just want to share with you the basics of manifestation, and just to remind you of how easy it is to manifest. Sometimes we tend to complicate things, but it's really simple. You know, it's easy. So I just want to keep it simple. I just want to apply the KISS principle, which is keep it simple, stupid. Because the law of assumption is simple. What does the law of assumption state? All that is required from you is to be very clear in what it is you want, number one. And number two is just to assume and accept that you are it or that you have it. So, for example, if you want to be healthy, your job is just to accept that you are already healthy right now. If you want to be rich, your job is to accept that you are already rich right now. If you want a loving relationship, your job is to accept that you are already a loving partner now. So you don't wait for it, you accept and assume that you are it or that you have it right now. Understood? It's really that simple. Now, what makes it complicated and what delays the process? It's because if you do not stick to your new mindset. So, for example, if you accept and assume that you are it or that you have your desire right now, and you start contradicting yourself. So, for example, if you accept and assume that you already have $1 million in your bank account, and then later on, you carry on like you are broke, you carry on like you can't afford stuff, and you actually tell people that you're broke, you can't afford it. You are now contradicting yourself. Remember, the moment you accept your new assumption, you have to stick to that assumption. In other words, you have to maintain that new mindset. And now, what happens if you maintain the mindset? When you maintain the mindset without wavering or contradict yourself, your external reality automatically reflects your internal reality. Now, that is a law, and it's really that simple. The only reason why it becomes complicated and why you may be waiting on your desires is because you are delaying the process. You are telling yourself that you do not have it. Your job is just to stick to your new mindset. So, for example, I'm going to share some success stories with myself, and then I'm going to share some success stories with our clients and our subscribers as well, right? Okay, so now check this out. My dream car was a Range Rover Sport. Now, at At the time, I was driving a VW. Now, I really wanted a Range Rover Sport. Now, in order for me to apply the law of assumption to manifest a Range Rover Sport, I had to assume that I was a Range Rover Sport owner. Even though I had a VW, my job was just to assume in my mind that, okay, Gabriel, you are now a Range Rover Sport owner. And I assumed and accepted that that's my new identity. I then remained faithful to that. I did not contradict myself. Within 2 months, I manifested my Range Rover Sport. Now, let me explain to you what happened. All I did was just remind myself every single day that I am already a Range Rover Sport owner. And then my external reality started showing me Range Rover Sports. So wherever I drove, I started seeing Range Rover Sports, Range Rover Sport cars. Wherever I drove, I'd go on YouTube, Instagram, I just see Range Rovers. And then within 2 months, boom, something happened. I manifested my Range Rover. And this is a law. It is a law, whether you like it or I like it, it's a law. It's impersonal. It does not judge. All you need to do is just to become very clear in what it is you want and to stick to this new mindset without contradicting yourself, without wavering. And I guarantee you, your 3D reality has to reflect your new mindset. Let me give you another example. So I used to be single, and I really wanted a loving, blissful relationship, right? So I knew in order for me to use the law of assumption to manifest a relationship, but not just any relationship, a loving, blissful relationship, I first had to become the loving, blissful partner while I was single. So all I had to do in my mind, assume that I am already a loving, blissful husband. Right? I assume that new mindset. Okay, Gabriel, you are now a loving, blissful husband. And I remain faithful to this new mindset. Within 3.5 months, boom, my beautiful wifey showed up. And I knew that she was my wife because I also made a list. I was like, you know what, this is what I actually wanted in a wife, in a woman, blah, 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 blah. So when we actually got to meet each other, bumped into each other, got to know each other, I was like, okay, she is my wife. Now, here's the thing. Even though I was single, I still saw myself as a loving, blissful husband in my mind. So whenever my desire would come to me, I would just daydream and like, isn't it wonderful now that I'm a loving husband? Isn't it wonderful now that I get to watch the beautiful sunsets with my wife? Isn't it wonderful that we get to go to our favorite restaurants, drinking on wine? That's what I used to do when I was single in my mind. But what was I doing? I was remaining faithful to my wish fulfilled. You see, I did not contradict myself. I did not waver. But of course, I am human. Sometimes I did contradict myself. I was like, I'm still single. But guess what? I did not stay there. I immediately shifted my mind back to the loving, blissful husband. So even though I contradicted myself, I still came back to my wish fulfilled. Because we are human, we are going to fall, we are going to contradict ourselves, we are going to waver, but you don't stay there. A lot of people contradict themselves, they waver and they stay there and they give up. Now, how many times did you give up on your manifestation? Just think about it. How many times did you give up on your manifestation? It's like the first day you're so excited, you pumped up. And then the following week, you give up because you're not seeing anything. But my question to you is, why do you give up so quickly? Why do you give up so quickly? Why do you give up so easily? Because if you go to the doctor, if you are ill, you go to the doctor. The doctor prescribe you with medication. And the doctor tells you, okay, I want you to take this medication for the next 6 to 8 weeks. And the doctor tells you, you will be healed. And you're already excited. You already envision yourself healed. You're already thinking, what are you going to do when you are healed? And guess what? You do not miss a day. You take that medication every single day. You don't give up the second day. You don't give up the second week. You don't give up the third week. You take that medication every single day. Now, my question to you is, why do you trust the doctor more than yourself? I mean, you know yourself longer than you know the doctor. The doctor is a stranger that you met yesterday, but yet you give your full trust and faith to the doctor. Why don't you give it to yourself? My question to you is, why are you giving up so quickly, so early? So what I want you to do is just give this another try. And don't give up so quickly, so easily. I want you to pretend that I am your doctor. And I'm going to prescribe you with a protocol. And I'm telling you, whatever you desire, all you need to do right now, as you're watching me, is to accept and assume that you have it, number one, and then stick to this new mindset. So, for example, if your desire is health, I want you to assume and accept that you are already healthy now. And I just want you to stick to this mindset, even though you have thoughts coming and say, no, but you still, you're not so healthy, this is still happening, and this. I just want you to stick to this new mindset that you are already healthy. Irrespective what you're going through internally, you just have to stick to this new mindset. And the easiest way for you to stick to your new mindset is by gratitude. Gratitude is the ultimate state of receivership. Let me repeat that. Gratitude is the ultimate state of receivership. You can only say thank you for something that you already have. So if you express your gratitude for having your desire now, you are telling yourself that you have it. So guess what? You don't have to worry. You don't have to stress because you already have it. You told yourself that you already have it. And that's how you get to sustain your wish fulfilled. That's how you get to stick to your new mindset via gratitude. Because when you are grateful, you are now in a state of having. You are now in a state of having. You're no longer complaining. You're no longer looking for your desires. You're no longer checking the 3D. You are telling yourself that I already have my desires and I am grateful. Now, let me give you another one. So, I used to struggle and I was like literally hitting an income ceiling, right? I struggled for about, say, 2 to 3 years. And my desire was to take my telecoms business to $1 million. Now, I struggled and I was stuck at 300K. And it was frustrating. It was literally irritating. And because I really wanted to take my income to the next level, but nothing just could seem to work. So then, of course, I got to work with the legend himself, Bob Proctor. And Bob Proctor told me this. He said, Gabriel, the reason why you're struggling, the reason why you were stuck for so many years is because you saw yourself as a person, as a business owner who is stuck and struggling. And it was such a huge light bulb moment for me because I really saw myself as a person who is stuck and is struggling. I identified myself with stuckness and struggle. That's why I was struggling for so many years. And Bob Proctor told me that you need to start seeing yourself as the business owner who already made $1 million. Even though the money is not in your account yet, you have to see yourself as the business owner who already made $1 million. And that for me was like, whoa, such a new concept because I always believe that it's seeing and then believing. But Bob Proctor taught me that no, it's believing and then seeing. So, in other words, you first have to see yourself as the person who has your desires. And then the outside world reflects that new perception, that new mindset. So, my question to you is how do you see yourself? How do you see yourself? Do you see yourself as someone who is struggling like me, that I used to see myself as someone who's struggling? Do you see yourself as someone who is stuck? Do you see yourself as someone who is waiting for their results? Do you see yourself as someone who is a victim? Or do you see yourself as someone who is a victor? Do you see yourself as someone who is a winner? Do you see yourself as someone who is successful? Do you see yourself as a master manifester? How do you see yourself? Because let me tell you something. However you see yourself will determine your results. And if you are not sure on how you see yourself, if you're not sure how you see yourself, all you need to do is look at your results. Your results will tell you how you see yourself. Your results will tell you how you see yourself. Look at your results. And now I want to share some awesome success stories on. So we did like a challenge, right? We did a 7-day challenge on to manifest like a million in your currency. Basically a 7-day challenge. We did that, right? And so a few people actually did the challenge, and a few actually shared their success stories with me. So that's exactly what I'm going to do now. I want to just share a few of the success stories, right? So there was the first one is one person basically, basically did the challenge, but they did not manifest $1 million. They manifested $21,000. And the challenge was basically you just repeat to yourself every day for 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes in the evening, I have $1 million. I have $1 million. I have $1 million. I have $1 million. So now this person shared with me that they did the challenge, but they did not manifest a million. They manifested $21,000, but they're going to continue to do the challenge. I said, yes, continue doing the challenge because you want to tell yourself that you are now a millionaire. And by you actually telling yourself that you are a millionaire, it's now going to become your new norm. So in other words, it's going to become your new comfort zone. Now we all have a comfort zone. So when it comes to earning money, we all have a like a money frequency, a comfort zone, right? So for example, if I had to ask you, what was the most money that you got in your bank account? What was the most money? So if you tell me that the most money that I got in my bank account is $10,000, that is your comfort zone. So your comfort zone is a $10,000. And you will not go beyond your comfort zone because you can never outperform your comfort zone. You can never outperform your comfort zone. You can never outperform your comfort zone. Because your comfort zone is your identity. So at the moment, you are identifying yourself with the version of yourself who is making X amount. So I want you to think about the most money that you received in your bank account. What is the most money that you received in your bank account? I want you to share with me in the chat. And as a matter of fact, I'm offering free live coaching. So if you have a big challenge that you are facing at the moment, I want you to click on that Zoom link and come join me. We're going to do a free live coaching session with you. If you are facing a big challenge right now, click on that link. Click on it. Okay, 77,000. So I saw, okay, someone received. It is done. Actually, just shared. Oh, thank you for the donation as well. It is done. I appreciate you. So it is done. Just share that the most they made or received in a bank account is $77,000. Now that is your comfort zone. And you can never outperform your comfort zone, irrespective of what you do. The only way you can outperform that $77,000 is when you shift your self-concept, your identity, to the version of yourself who now has your new amount. So let's say, for example, it is done. You want to manifest $1 million, right? You first have to see yourself as the person who already has $1 million in their bank account. So you have to ask yourself, okay, if you had $1 million in your bank account right now, what will you do? What will you do if you had $1 million in your bank right now? What will you do? And I want you to share with me in the chat. What will you do if you had $1 million in your bank account right now? How will you think? How will you think if you know, if you knew you had $1 million in your account? How will you think? How will you feel if you knew you had $1 million in your bank account? How will you feel? How will you behave if you knew you had $1 million in your bank account? How will you behave? And what will you say to yourself? What will you say to yourself if you had $1 million in your bank account? Now, that is how you shift your comfort zone. Now, it is Dunn's comfort zone, right? Is $77,000. Now, in order for it is done to share, to shift their, to change their comfort zone, all they had to do is just ask themselves, okay, if I had $1 million now, what am I going to do right now if I knew I had $1 million in my bank account? How would I think? How would I feel? How would I act? How would I behave? And what will I say to myself? So we've got a few comments here. We said free. Okay, I like that. Yeah, free. Okay, so what does freedom mean to you? It is done. So you've got like, quit my job, go on vacation. Okay, right? Ecstatic, worry-free. I would be confident. You see, like, look at all these awesome, like, you'd be confident, right? So now, all you need to do, start doing it is done, is you have to feel that freedom right now. And you have to feel that confident right now. Now, let me ask you a question, it is done. I want you to share with me in the chat any past experience where you felt free or confident. I want you to share with me, just think, whether it was in your childhood, teenage years, young adulthood, share with me a past experience where you felt free and confident. Just share any experience in the past where you felt free, confident. I want you to type it and share with me. Okay, and by the way, guys, I'm going to share the Zoom link. So if you have a big challenge right now, you can join. You can join me for free coaching, right? I'm actually offering free coaching, a free coaching session. I'm going to share the Zoom link. All you do is just click on the Zoom link and you can come join me for free live coaching. And I'm going to help you to overcome your biggest challenge. I'll do it right now. But for now, I'm asking it is done. I want you to share with me. Okay, so it is done, just shared when I purchased my Mercedes in June. Okay, so now you already know what it feels like to be free and confident. So now all you need to do is practice this mindset. So what I want you to do now, it is done. I want you to go back to that memory when you purchased your Mercedes, right? Notice how you felt. You felt confident, free. Now I want you to feel that way right now. And whilst you're feeling that way right now, I want you to see the million in your bank account. I want you to do this until you feel a feeling of relief. Do it until you feel a feeling of relief. And then I want you to share that experience in the chat with me. Because why am I asking it is done to go back to a memory where, because remember the question was, if you had $1 million in your bank account, how would you feel? And it is done shared, I'll feel free and confident. And I ask, okay, when in your life have you felt free and confident? When they purchased a Mercedes. Now, what that means is everything is already within you. Everything is already within you. It's not outside you. So if you want a loving relationship, all you need to do is start loving yourself. Because if you love yourself, your 3D is going to love you back automatically. And you will manifest a loving relationship. If you want perfect health, all you need to do is to feel whole right now. So if you can feel whole right now, you are manifesting health. If you want to manifest riches, wealth, and abundance, all you need to do is feel worthy and free right now. You can feel worthy and free right now. When you feel that worthiness and that freedom, you are manifesting riches, wealth, and abundance. It is already within you. It's not outside. The outside world is just a mirror. Let me repeat that. The outside world is just a mirror. Now, if I go to the mirror right now, and if I put lipstick on the mirror, I put makeup on the mirror, it's not going to do anything because I'm still going to be without lipstick and without makeup. I have to put the lipstick on me and on my face. And then the mirror is going to reflect the change on me. So what that means is there's no one to change but you. All you need to do is to change you. If you want to see your life transform, you have to change you. You don't have to change your partner. You don't have to change your clients. You don't have to change the government, the economy. All that is required is for you to change you. Which brings me to my favorite quote by Neville Goddard. When you change your conception of yourself, your entire world will change automatically. Do not try to change people. They are only messengers telling you who you are. Revalue yourself and they will confirm the change. So all you need to do is just change how you see yourself and how you define yourself. Now, let me ask you guys a question in the chat. How do you define yourself? Do you define yourself as the person who is waiting for the results? You're waiting on the full moon. You're waiting on tarot cards. You're waiting for miracles. You're waiting for your big break. How do you define yourself? Do you define yourself as a person who is struggling, who is stuck, who is a victim, who is complaining? How do you define yourself? If you start defining yourself as a winner, as a victor, as a person, whatever you touch turns to gold. If you define yourself as the person, it says that everything in your life always works in your favor 24/7. You define yourself as a child of the universe, a child of God, one with source energy. You define yourself as already having all your results. You say, I'm so happy and grateful now that I've already have all my results. I'm so happy and grateful now that I have all my desires. I'm so happy and grateful now that I have all my desires. Just imagine you repeating this new mantra, affirmation, mindset every day, and you telling yourself, I'm so happy and grateful. I already have all my desires. I am the man who has it all. I am the man who has it all. I am the woman who has it all. I'm so happy and grateful. I have all my desires. Now I get to chill. I get to relax. I can watch Netflix and chill. I can spend time with my family, with my friends, because I already have all my results. Now, Neville Goddard. Neville Goddard said, when you change your conception of yourself, your entire world will change automatically. Now, what is your conception of yourself? It's how you see yourself. It's how you define yourself and what you believe to be true about yourself. So my question to you is, how do you see yourself? How do you define yourself? What do you believe to be true about yourself? How do you see yourself? How do you define yourself? And what do you believe to be true about yourself? Okay, see, it is done basically. Did the exercise awesome. Say, I feel powerful. I feel powerful. Now check that. That power is already within you. You didn't even pay to do that. You literally just stepped within. You feel powerful and you get to feel that way every single day. It's not outside of you, it's inside. You can feel that way every single day. Check, I am happy and grateful that I already have all my desires. Yes. Yes. Because now that will take so much stress, anxiety, from your shoulders. Because now you know that, okay, cool. I am the man who has it all. I am the woman who has it all. I am happy and grateful now that I already have all my desires. All my desires. You know? So the point that I want to make is that we are complicating the process. And how we complicating the process is we excited. We are very excited that we can now transform our life with the law of assumption. And now we choose our desires and then we fire it up for 2, 3 days. But then the following day, or the following week rather, we don't see anything happening in the 3D. And now we're starting to give up hope. We're starting to waver. We're starting to contradict ourselves. And next thing you know, we just give up the whole thing. And then we jump from one technique to another, from one method to another, from one YouTube video to another. And that's basically our lives. It's just a never ending cycle of constantly going to the next shiny object. Now I want you to put in the chat if that's your experience. Just if you're experiencing that at the moment, just drop a 1 in the chat. Drop a 1 in the chat. If that is your experience at the moment. Because the law is simple, but we complicate it. Our job is just to become clear in what it is we want and to stick to this new mindset. So you say that, okay, this is my desire. Okay, your job is just to accept and assume right now that you have it now. You accept and assume that I have it now, that I am it now. And just stick to this new mindset without contradicting yourself. Just stick to this new mindset. And I'm telling you, if you're able to stick to this new mindset, your 3D has no choice but to conform. Your 3D has to reflect your new mindset, because the 3D is basically a feedback loop. So the 3D is basically just reflecting your mind. So whatever is in your mind will actually be shown to you later on. That's how reality works. Your reality is a reflection of your mindset. So if you accept in your mind right now that you are the man who has it all, or you are the woman who has it all, and you stick to this mindset, your 3D then start to show you evidences that you are the man who has it all. You are the woman who has it all. Your job is just to stick to this new mindset. I just want you to pretend I am your doctor, okay? I am your doctor. I want you to pretend that I am your doctor. I want you to call me Dr. Gabriel. And I'm going to prescribe a mental medication to you for 21 days. And I want you to take this medication 2 times a day, in the morning and in the evening. And this medication simply comprises of, all you need to do is just accept and assume that you already have your desires. And I want you to stick to this mindset from the morning to the evening. And in the evening, I want you to accept and assume that you already have your desires. So you're going to do it in the morning for 5 minutes and in the evening for 5 minutes. But I do not want you to contradict yourself or to waver from this medication. I want you to stick to this medication for 21 days. Do you know what will happen if you just stick to this mental medication for 21 days? Your external reality, your 3D, has to reflect your new mindset. Now, if I was a doctor, you would have taken me seriously. You say, oh yeah, no, that's Dr. Gabriel. He prescribed me this medication. Okay, I'm going to stick to this medication for 21 days. You know, we trust our doctors. We don't question them. If the doctors say, hey, I want you to stick to this prescription, you don't question the doctor. But yet, when it's us and we are manifesting our desires, we are fired up for 2 or 3 days, and then the following week we give up. We give up. We just give up. And then we go to the next shiny object. But I want you to ask yourself, why do you give up so quickly? Why do you give up so easily? Why? Why? Why do you give up so quickly? Why do you give up so easily? Why not just try and test it? Test it out for yourself. Like Neville Goddard says, just test it out for yourself and watch what happens. So as I was sharing with you guys, so there was one person that did the 7-day challenge. So we had a 7-day challenge, and the challenge basically comprises of, all you need to do is just repeat the following affirmations. I have a million. I have a million in your currency. For example, I have $1 million. I have $1 million. I have $1 million. 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening. All you do is just, I have $1 million. I have $1 million. You repeat, I have $1 million, 5 minutes in the morning. You repeat, I have $1 million, 5 minutes in the evening. So one person shared that they did not manifest a million, but they manifested $21,000. And then another person shared that during the 7 days, they won like $5,000. And then another person shared that during the 7 days, a challenge, they won a scratch card. Okay. So yes, no one manifested millions as yet, but this is what I shared with them. I said, listen, do not stop at 7 days. Continue. Why don't you make I have $1 million your new norm? Why don't you make it your new norm? Because you have a norm at the moment. So at the moment, you have a certain amount of money in your bank account, whether that's 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. There is an amount in your bank account which you know it's your norm. So why don't you use your superpower called the law of assumption and change that and just tell yourself, I have $1 million in my bank account, and make that your new norm. Because you have a norm at the moment. So it's not something new that I'm teaching you. It's not something new that I'm teaching you. I'm just reminding you on how to utilize the law of assumption. So all you need to do is just use the law of assumption to its full advantage. Why don't you stop? You don't have to stop at 7 days. Continue every day and remind yourself that I have $1 million. I have $1 million. So the affirmation doesn't have to be extravagant. No, it's simple. Because if you have $1 million, how would you tell that to someone else? You'd probably say that, hey, I have $1 million. I have $1 million. You're not going to tell the person, oh, I'm so happy and grateful that I have $1 million. Oh, I'm so excited I have $1 million. Oh, I'm like, no, you're probably going to say that I have $1 million. I have $1 million. So the point that I want to make is I want to try and make it as natural as possible for you, so that your brain and your subconscious mind can receive it easily. And it's very short. It's just, I have $1 million. I have $1 million. I have $1 million. Okay. So if you guys are not aware of that challenge, I'm going to share it with you now. I'm going to put it in the chat, so that you can also have fun and try it out. As Neville Goddard says, test it. You've got nothing to lose. It's only 5 minutes. 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening. I mean, like, I waste a lot of time on social media. So 5 minutes for me is nothing. You know what I mean? So you just have to ask yourself, 5 minutes, that's nothing. But what that will do is it will shift your brain to the version of yourself who now has $1 million. And guess what? Guess what? When you start seeing yourself as the person who have $1 million in your bank account, you're now shifting your self-concept. You're shifting your identity. And when you shift your self-concept, your external reality changes automatically because your external reality is simply a reflection of your internal reality. Now, your internal reality is your mindset. Now, let me ask you something now. I want to ask you something now. What is in your mind? What is in your head at the moment? What is the dominant story in your head? I want you to share with me. What is the dominant story in your head? Okay, here's the challenge, guys. I'm sharing that. That's the challenge. For those that are not aware of, that's the challenge that you can do. Yes, Kevin, he says that, yeah, be delusional. It used to be, but now just remain in my own state, not caring. It's simple. Exactly, exactly, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, really, really, really that simple. Um, so, um, so my question to you is, because we're actually heading towards an hour now, but my question to you is, what is in your head right now? What is your dominant story? What is your dominant story playing in your head? Is your dominant story, I have it now? Or is your dominant story, I don't have it, I'm still waiting, I'm looking for signs, I'm waiting for the full moon, waiting for the tarot cards, waiting for the government, waiting for the weather? What is your dominant state? Is your dominant state, I already have it, or I'm still waiting? If you are not sure what your dominant story in your head is, I want you to have a look at your results. Have a look at your results, because that will tell you what your dominant story in your head is. Just have a look at your results. And I want you to change that story right now. Change that story right now. Because when you change your story, you change your life. Now, we are all storytellers. We tell ourselves stories about our health, about our relationships, about our career, about our bank account. So we constantly tell ourselves stories. We storytellers. Now, if the story does not serve you, it controls you. Let me repeat that. If the story does not serve you, it controls you. So let me ask you a question. The story in your head that is running the show, is that story serving you, or is it control you? I want you to share in the chat. Share, I just want you to share with me, it's serving me, or share with me, it's controlling me. Because I want you to change that story right now, because now is the new later. My question to you is, the story in your head, is it serving you, or is it controlling you? Share with me. I have it. Yes, there we go. Yes, millionaire. There we go. I have it. Don't look for confirmation. There we go. I love that. So tell me, the story in your head, is it serving you, or is it controlling you? Now get this. The story in your head is not even real. The story in your head is not even real. It's intangible. You can't touch it. You can't smell it. You can't taste it. The story in your head is not even real. It's intangible. And that story is just like my hoodie. If this hoodie smells funky, I'm just going to take it off. And that's exactly what you do with the story in your head. If you know that the story in your head is not serving you, all you do is just take it off, like how you take off this hat, take off this hat, my beautiful hair, you know, just need to go and, I love my hair. So I can take the story off if it's not serving me, like I took off my hat. It's really that simple. It's really that simple. So you do not have to allow the story in your head to control you anymore. And if you know that the story has been controlling you for all these years, I want you to take it off right now. Just like how I took my hat off. I want you to take it off. I love that. It is done serving me, serving me. Wonderful. I love that. I love that. I absolutely love that. Because we are victors. So we are victors. We are not victims. We are winners. We are masters of, we are master manifestors. Everything in our lives always work in our favor. We are children of the universe. We are children of God. We are one with source energy. We are one with God. Everything we desire, we already have. And guess what? We are the prize. We are on the pedestal. And whatever we say goes. You've always been manifesting. Look at your results. Look at your health. Look at your wealth. Look at your relationships. You've always been manifesting. All I'm telling you now is to take your power back. Take your power back. Take your power back. Do not give your power away. Take your power back because the power is within you. Jesus said that the kingdom of heaven is within you. The Bible also says in Matthew that you are God. Yes, that's right. The Bible said that you are God. So you have to start acting like that. You are one with God. You've been created in the image of God. So take your power back. If it's to be, it's up to you. If that story in your head, if it's not serving you, I want you to release it right now. And that's my message for you today. Allow me to be your doctor. And I want you to accept and assume that you already have your desire right now. And stick to this prescription. I am now prescribing you a mental diet. And I want you to, for the next week, just for the next week, I want you to focus on this new mental diet by simply telling yourself that you already have it. That's it. You just tell yourself that I already have it and stick to this new mental diet. Do not contradict yourself. Do not waver. And if you do contradict yourself, if you do waver, I want you to come back to the assumption that you do have it. Just for just for 7 days. And you will see it will become easier and easier and easier. You'll feel so empowered. You'll feel so fulfilled. You'll feel so happy because now you're no longer going to stress. You no longer have to look for your results. You no longer have to jump from one shiny object to another. You no longer have to jump from one YouTube video to another. You no longer have to jump from one technique to another. You no longer have to jump from one method to another. All you do is just tell yourself that you already have it. Stick to this new mindset. Make this your new story. And let me tell you, your 3D has to reflect your new mindset. Whether I like it or you like it or not. It's a law. It's a law. It has to reflect, because I am a direct testament of that, including my clients. So if it can happen to me and to us, it can happen to you as well. So that's my message for you for today. Stick to this new mindset. Or tell yourself, I am the man who has it all. I am the woman who has it all. And stick to this new mindset and watch how your life will transform for the better. And that is my message for you today. And I will see you guys again. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. It is done. Thank you, Kevin and me. Allowed to pronounce that. But appreciate you guys. Have an awesome weekend. And I will see you soon. Cheers.